I think this is really like the best way to go about involving and continuing the story of the bloodline while Roman is absent. Like, I think they're doing such a good job. I think all of this was so good, like so good. And I saw a lot of people that were really excited about what is going on with Solo because they're like, oh my gosh, this is like the most that they have done with Solo in a year or whatever. And I agree. But then I had this thought because, of course, I have a football brain.
Well, you write it.
Yeah.
You write a
So
lot about it.
I really feel like what we saw, because I had expressed a lot that I was really disappointed with how they were going about using Solo the past like year basically, and it feels to me like they drafted him, sat him as like he was like a rookie quarterback.
He was used backup.
Yeah, he was the rookie quarterback learning from the starter, you know? And it feels like, so yeah, they sat him for a year so he got to sit and learn from Paul Heyman, his brothers, and Roman. And now he's the guy. They're throwing him in as the new season. Solo is the guy. He's the starting quarterback. And now we're going to see all the fruits of that labor because, I mean, he's already off to such a hot start. Like, this is so good already.
It's unbelievable. Okay, before I go and try to find that tweet, few things I got to get off my chest about this segment. One being the fact that we want Roman chants was incredible. That's another type of heat for Solo. But then his reaction, if you saw it, he mouthed, he was like, "Oh, now you do. Now you chant his name. Now you want him."
No,
which was perfect.
That was insane. It's like this is the epitome of how things work in wrestling. You know,
it was absolutely like that. I laughed out loud. I actually laughed. I'm like, this is you fickle people. This is how wrestling should absolutely be at its peak, and it is.
What's great about it too is like we assume that they're going to bring him back as a babyface. It's already working. It's been 2 weeks, dude. Yeah. It's already working. Like people want to cheer for him now. That's insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And the fact too of how scared Paul Heyman is of Solo is just some of Paul's best work, and he just got inducted. It's a reason why he's a Hall of Famer. Because this man went from Roman, like he was the god, he was the guy, and whatever Roman said was law. And now Solo's like, fuck Roman, I don't need him. Like, what do we? This is my show. Losing has consequences. These are the consequences. I'm now stepping up. And it's like, all right, you were just wild with power. And Paul, when he is dragged out to the parking lot to see the carnage between the rental cars, I was so hypnotized by Heyman because it was such a different Heyman than what we're used to.
Yeah.
This was like fear. Paul Heyman does not know what the word fear means.
And
but
it's like
he said that, like he's like, do we understand? Nicholas like, do we understand, Mr. It's like, I understand. Like, there was no Paul Heyman BS or con man talk. Like, that is how you know this segment and how the bloodline, it's only going to get better from here.
Well, and I think that if we're going to not have Roman around for however many months, I'm so glad that Paul is still around because
you need Paul.
I feel like we're kind of getting how Roman would maybe be reacting through Paul, you know? So it's like, instead of Solo just doing all of this and there's no one really pushing back or reacting negatively, you know, or frighteningly, like, I like that we at least have Paul because Paul is like Roman's voice, even though Roman's not there.
Oh, no,
so it's like
he's the voice.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool because even though Roman's not around, you kind of still feel like he is there, you know, like it's not as bad as when he was champion and you're like, oh my God, like there's nothing for these people to compete for or something. You know what I mean? It's like, so I think that they're doing a really good job so far. And I'm really excited because I think this could potentially rival what we saw from Roman's bloodline. Like if they keep going down this route, I feel like it has all the makings to be just as good, if not better.
Oh, if you throw in Jacob Fatu into this.
Yeah.
you may have probably I don't know of a lot of things where the sequel is better than the original,
Mhm.
but you could get pretty damn close if you have a trio bloodline of Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Solo. And oh, just I
'Cause
can't even. I
they're
can't
just
even.
so, and the thing is like it's because they're so different than the vibe that you get from Roman and the Usos, you know? Like it's not that Roman doesn't instill fear in his opponents or something, but it's like you look at Solo and you just know this is a tough mother effer. You know what I mean? And the
Oh,
same
he
thing
means
is
business.
yeah, something you feel the same way when you look at Tonga and if you when with Jacob Fatu. Like that is the vibe that you get from them, and that rivals what the Usos and Roman will do, especially as a babyface group. Like it's just like you're not gonna take them for granted because they're all, the three of them are very well accomplished in WWE. Obviously, I mean Roman's coming off a nearly 4-year title reign, so it's nothing to say like no, that's not impressive, you
No,
know.
I
But
get what
like
you mean.
it's just gonna be so good to see the
Yeah,
differences between them and like how they build off of that and like what how Roman will ultimately react when he gets back, because we have to remember he was grooming Solo for this very position that Solo is now taking, doing on his.
very literally.
And it's what's interesting is like Paul isn't really saying a whole lot about Roman and like what Roman is saying or how he's reacting to everything. So I feel like that could even be an interesting element because maybe Roman doesn't care.
He
Maybe
can't.
Roman's like, this is what I wanted him to be. This is what I wanted him
Yeah,
to do. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's kind of an interesting
he can't
element.
call him though. He can't
I know.
because
Well,
his phone broke. Like
yeah,
his,
because you
they
can't get a
stepped on
new
the
one.
phone.
Yeah, because you can't get a new one. There's no such thing as new phones.
Well, loving it. Solo is a good boss. Just he is. I mean, carnage. That
I
man
just hope
just.
I hope they keep going with this because I've criticized Triple H for how he's like unable to actually make intimidating heels, and he's doing a good job so far with this Bloodline
Remember how he
2.0.
said? Remember
What?
how he said to Triple H with heels, like, "Where are they?"
Yeah.
And
Well,
after
that's what I just
Mania,
said. I said
yeah,
I've
it's yeah.
criticized him. So that's why I'm saying I hope
Uh,
that he will continue with what he's doing with Solo, because then he's like, okay, giving me a little bit more confidence that he'll be able to do that with Solo in this Bloodline story and then maybe apply it to other people as well, because we need these types of heels. They can't just be like, oh yeah, you're supposed to hate them. It's
mm,
like, no, you want reasons to hate them. So that was why it was even a good idea for them to go after Kevin Owens, because he's kind of like Sami Zayn, where you don't hate him. You just can't,
you can't hate him. You
At
physically
least
can't
not
hate.
right now. 10 years ago, you could have hate Kevin Owens, but NXT Kevin Owens, but not now.
When he powerbombed Cena, I did mark out a little bit. I'm
Rip.
not gonna lie. Solo doesn't fully trust Heyman like Roman did. Solo wants to make the final decisions, not waiting on Heyman to talk to Roman. Agreed.
I
Like, just
think,
do it.
and that's the thing is because Solo was the number 2, he saw everything that Roman did and how he like betrayed Jay and he did things against Jimmy. Like he knows that it was just a matter of time until it probably happened to him. So why would he trust Paul? Because Paul signed off on all of it and he allowed all of it to happen. So I don't blame Solo. I think that's like an interesting part of the story as well, because he trusted him as far as he could throw him when they were buddy buddy. But now he's like, nah, you can still be around, but like you're not my guy. You're not my mouthpiece.
He's
So
not his wise man.
no.